Okay, hello everybody. So I hope you're doing well, and then you're having a beautiful Sunday, right? So as usual, I'm very happy to meet with you. So my name is Tony T, your founder and CEO of Renewables in Africa, your Africa clean energy champion. And as usual, like we do every Sunday, so we're gonna have a topic that we're going to discuss about. But before we go, we do that. I would just like to say, if you haven't done so yet, please make sure that you subscribe to our channel, and you can also share your comment and share the news and share the message, the video with your network, right? So that's always very useful for me. So first of all, I want to thank you for taking some time in your Sunday because I know we are all busy now. As the school has started for most of us, so we need to be running after kids, right? Make sure they're doing their homework and so on and so forth. So, and I'm no different than you. My Sunday is very packed, but I always make a point to have a conversation with you. And what I was thinking is actually rather than having those regular lives, I probably gonna alternate, right? Sometimes having lives and other time having those videos just like we used to do, right? So this way we can still continue to share the information with you, right? Okay, that's great. And before I found the topic for today, so I was actually wondering yesterday what I was gonna talk about. Then it dawned to me that we doing all we're doing and we're taking it for granted. That's what I say in my LinkedIn post. The fact, for example, that I'm talking to you right now, the fact that I'm able to make breakfast for my children in the morning, the fact that I'm able to listen to music, the fact I'm able to communicate to people, we take it for granted. But all of that, suppose that we have one thing and one thing in common, all of us share, that we have access to power, access to electricity. And if we don't have that, I'm sure you would agree with me, none of what we're saying right now, none of what we're doing will be possible, isn't it? Right? So it's very important to remember that. So that's why I wanted to discuss about that. So if we all agree that it's so important, so vital for us to be able to connect and to have access to this electricity, so how then do we make sure that everybody has access to it? Because like I say, we take it for granted and it's so useful. So we understand that when we don't have access to that commodity, that is electricity, our life is quite different, right? It's quite different and quite challenging. There's so many things we can do. Like I said, I can't even talk to you right now, right? So, and if we're talking about that, we all know about the SDG 7. So, making sure that everybody across the planet has access to sustainable, reliable, and affordable electricity power for all. So, how do we make it happen? So, what I wanted to talk to you today, it's about what are the barriers that is preventing us from reaching out these duties. So why is it important for you? And what is important for me? First of all, if we don't understand what are the challenges that we need to overcome to be able to deliver that, then we will never be able to do it, isn't it? So having a proper understanding of what are the changes, what are the challenges that we need to overcome, the problem that we need to overcome, definitely setting us in the right path. And this is what I want to talk to you about, right? And then, because I've been doing, obviously, I've been in the sector for more than 10 years, as you know now. So, running renewables in Africa, a clean energy engineering company, but also media platform. We want to make sure that we can bring back power to Africa. So, from the experience that we're able to gather, so we've been able also to collect some insights, and that's why we're having those regular lives. That's what I'm telling you. If you like this video, please do make sure that you like it, you subscribe, and you share that with you, and leave a comment so that we know whether or not you like it. So, just to come back to the topic, what are the barriers? There are many, but I want to focus on three today, right? Otherwise, we're here for the whole afternoon, and like I said, you and I are busy. So, what are the three barriers that I might want to talk about now? We can always have other session where we talk about other barriers. The three that at the moment still preventing us to have an energy access for all. And by the way, as I'm talking about here, that would apply to the African continent and some area in Southeast Asia as well, maybe across the world, Central America as well. So, but most of it, the bulk of it, will be in Africa. So the number one reason why it's challenging to spread electricity for all is that we all agree that in order for us to do that, the grid will play a big role, because the grid, that's how you can provide power to the many, right, at a price that's hopefully very affordable. And the reason we can't just expand the grid like that utilities company can't expand the grid like that, it's because, and that's the number one reason, it's because they don't have enough incentives to do so. And if they don't have incentives to do so, it's difficult for them to do it, isn't it? Because I'm sure you would agree, most of the region that lack power are in rural areas. So that means we need to extend the grid to those rural areas. So then you need to ask yourself the question, what is the connection cost then for every household that you are connecting, right? So figures will vary. But if I take, for example, in Tanzania, and you have a utility that's the TANESCO. So from our research, right, TANESCO will spend about $2,300 to connect each household. Yeah, so that's the connection cost, and that is in dollar. Yeah, so this is not in shillings. So if you look at that, right, that's a huge sum. If you can imagine all the people that then need to be connected, so that's actually quite impressive, and that's why it's very challenging. And why is the cost that high? You may be asking yourself. Well, it's because if you want to be providing power to rural areas, so that means you eventually will have to extend those high voltage lines, right? And from what I know, it would cost you about 33,000 per kilometer to do that. So if you look at all the kilometers that we have to do, it's just huge. All the miles that we have, it's just huge. It's a huge sum of money. So utilities, don't forget that many of them, most of them actually, I would say, in Africa, are not in great financial conditions. So for them to be able to invest into that's actually quite challenging. So they need some incentives. So if there's not enough incentives, obviously they will be a little bit reluctant to do so. They're not even the capacity to do so, and that's the number one reason, right? Is because they don't have sufficient incentives to be able to do that. So, and now if we're looking at the second reason, so which is directly connected to the first one that I just mentioned, so you have to talk about the finance. The reason as well they can't do that is because they can't raise the finance necessary to do so, right? They can't really find to do so because I say 32,000 per kilometer. So that means if you're having, for example, 1,000 kilometers, just that to do to connect just one area, one region. Because Tanzania, for example, is a big country. I'm taking Tanzania today, but obviously that would apply for many other countries. 1,000 kilometers, that's already what, 33 millions that you need to do. So can you see? So that's significant. And if you look at 33 millions, with 33 millions nowadays, you can actually build a 33 solar plant, right? So that's what we're saying. And that's just to connect one area, which is 1,000 kilometers. And then you need to ask yourself the question, in that area, do we have enough people, right? Do we have enough people to make sure that we can connect all of them, and then make sure that they also have the buying power necessary for you to recoup your money? In a nutshell, would they be able to afford power that you're gonna send to them? So basically, raising finance is quite huge to extend the grid, because when we talk about extended grid, you want to build a big power plant, but they didn't have to extend it because you have the generation and the transmission all together, the T&D, transmission and distributions, right? So those are huge, huge, huge sums. If you're looking at the money that is needed for the generation, you equally have pretty much the exact same money that you also need for transmission and distribution. So we're talking about significant amount of money. And because those utilities, right, they're not in great financial conditions, it's difficult for them to raise money. It's difficult for them to raise money. And again, like I say, that's a project, that's another topic that we can develop. Oh, by the way, as I'm telling you about that, next Wednesday, it's Thursday, sorry, I'll be moderating a session talking about investment in Africa? How do we de-risk investment in Africa in the renewable energy sector so that we can have a lot more of these projects that are coming live, right? So if you haven't done so, make sure that you subscribe. So by the way, as I'm talking about that right now, let me see if I can send you the link. Yep, that's the link here. Yeah, let me just copy that. I will paste it, yeah, in the comments, and you have it. There you go. You have the comment there of that event, right? So make sure that you subscribe to that. So I mentioned about the fact that the economic incentives are not there for utilities for them to be able to extend the grid to rural areas. And secondly, I mentioned about the fact that they can't raise the finance they need because they're in very, very poor financial conditions. And also, like I said, those are significant amount of money and they can't do that. So the third reason, as you can imagine, that we've been talking about the grid. So we all agree that for us to reach the universal access, you will need grid and also off grid, isn't it? Exactly. We will need that. The challenge though with off grid is that the business model that are run now, there's not many that are actually economically sustainable, because what you may not know is that many of those mini grid still have that how do you call it? They have these yeah, that grant component, subsidy component. Yeah, and that's why they're able to be able to operate. But on their own, without any grant at all, subsidies, there's very, very few that can obviously stand their own. And that's the third reason why you see that it's not easy to obviously reach electricity for all. So basically, if we want to aim for the SDG 7 objective, we need to tap into those barriers. We need to solve it. So how can we do that? Obviously, there are multiple solutions, and we can talk about that. But obviously, in a very quick session like we're doing right now, we will never be able to talk about all of them. But first of all, the whole point for me was, first of all, for you to let you know that. So the barriers, so I talked about 3 barriers. There are more, but I just want to make sure that you focus on those 3 for now. So we talked about the fact that there's not enough economic incentives, right, for utility to spread or to expand the grid. Secondly, they can't raise the finance they need because they're in bad condition, bad financial conditions, basically. And then those are huge sums of money for them. And the third is the fact that the off-grid and mini-grid solution that we have, they are good. They're certainly useful, but on their own, they're not financially sustainable. So that's what we need to tap into. And if we tap into that, definitely we would already move into our direction, right? So this is what I wanted to share with you. That's the conversation I wanted to have for you for today. This is my spiritual message for the Sunday, right? So I'm hoping that you have enjoyed. So if you did, that's great. So make sure that you leave your comments. Let me know how you found it. Make sure that you spread it, and that'd be great. And also, the good thing is, I'd like you to tell me what kind of topic do you want me to discuss in this live that we have it, because I want to make sure that it's useful for you. Because there's no point for the knowledge only to stay with me or people that I know. No, we want to spread it, demystify renewable energy sector for you, so that, as I say, whether you are an investor, whether you are a company, whether you are a professional, we want to be able to give you the information you need. Obviously, I'm not just saying that we can give you all for free. No, obviously, this is how we contribute. Obviously, if you want to have something a lot more in depth, then we can obviously talk about that offline. But as I say, it's very, very interesting, very, very how can I say that, exciting for me to share this knowledge and to see how I can contribute and how I can at least give you part of my knowledge, right? So please leave a comment to let me know what you would like us to talk about. Yeah, if you have a specific topic that's really of interest for you. Also, let me know, or you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, right? So that's the easiest way to reach out to me, because other platform, my team runs it, and I'm not always on top of it. Yeah. So we're on LinkedIn. If you leave me a message, so make sure that I reach out to you, or maybe somebody from my team can reach out to you. So yeah. So I don't know if there is any question. I can't see any at this stage. If there is, please feel free to drop it to me. But what I wanted to say is actually is next Thursday running a webinar. So I want you to attend. It's a free webinar. Again, we're giving you some good content there. So there's going to be a lot of good speakers. It's going to be speakers from the EIB, the European International Bank. We're going to have what? KFW, ATI, so on and so forth. But anyway, great people. Yeah. So make sure that you turn up. And we're also going to have a webinar towards the end of the month. These are for people who wants to be solar entrepreneur, right? So I can also drop the link here. Yeah, let me have a look if I can drop the link if I have it with me. Okay, yep. I have also the link here. I drop it here, yeah, so that you have it. Yes. Yeah, I don't want to just inundate you with many links. Take those two for now. Yeah, so that's what I could say and I could say for today. I don't know if there was any question. I can't see any, but as I say, if you do have later on, leave a comment, and then be a pleasure for me to mention that to you. So for the time being, you have a beautiful, great rest of your Sunday, and I'll be talking to you very soon. May the sun be with you. Get better.